You know, the funniest thing about this video is that I planned to do it forever ago, and I was just sitting there, and I was prepped, and I was ready to go, and then I just fell asleep. It just fell asleep. It was one of those things where it's like, oh shit, Resident Evil and Silent Hill, they have a resurgence. I gotta hop on this immediately. Let me do the Resident Evil videos. Silent Hill, nope. I'm passed out. I don't know where I am. I'm dazed and confused. I'm on Dream Street. The lights are off and nobody's home. This is finally me reacting to the Silent Hill F PlayStation sort of analysis that they had with their official release date trailer. Right, we got a release date of September the 25th, I believe, of this year, and I'm so happy. I'm surprised it wasn't all the way until October. This would have been a perfect October game, but maybe they already know that they're going to be competing with Bloober's other game, Chronos: The New Dawn, which was decoded, and they said that's coming out October the 12th, as far as I know. So this gives Silent Hill a little bit of leeway to sort of come out and be like, here we are. This is like right off the release of Metal Gear Solid Delta as well in August. I can't personally wait for this one. Without further ado, without further delay, we are going to do a trailer analysis and break this down, and let's see what Silent Hill F has to offer for the gameplay department. Alright, as everyone knows, this takes place in Japan, I think in the 1960s. It's a radical departure from what Silent Hill takes place in. You know, it usually takes place in the fictional town in the Midwest of America. They are, once again, I assume this is all speculation from here, but I assume they're gonna do the whole Silent Hill phenomenon thing where they decide to say, hey, this sort of occurrence takes place in a different area and it's akin to Silent Hill vibes. Once again, the town sucking someone in, them going through a personal trauma, and them seeing a representation of these creatures or monsters or manifestations of their deepest, darkest secrets and inner memories. I thoroughly believe that this phenomenon is going to continue in other locations. They even said it themselves, the directors themselves. I mean, one of the directors from Silent Hill Ascension, every time that name fucking crops in, I just think of how trash it is, but I digress. Anyway, he did break it down and said they kind of want this series to expand and turn into a meta series, and we saw some of that with Silent Hill the Short Message, and I assume the same thing is going to happen here, where the phenomenon takes place and these characters are affected. This is being written by the guy who did Higurashi When They Cry, and he's very, very hyped up. He's very put on a pedestal. A lot of people say he makes very good and fucked up stories, and I think he is a perfect candidate for Silent Hill. Here's Hinako, our main protagonist.
サクコ、どこ行くの？こっち通るの珍しいね。今は誰かと喋りたくて。
Already, Hinako wants to talk to people. This is gonna be involved with her friends, or maybe her trying to make friends and having that awkwardness come into play. I do believe some of the theories on R Silent Hill, fucking crazy, right? That R Silent Hill comes up again in this situation, but they think that Hinako is going to murder her friends and she's going to be completely oblivious to it, and that is the main cause and concern and reason for her loneliness.
私も後から行くね。うん。
Because there was a character at the end of this trailer, and she was like sort of ran through with what appeared to be Hanako's Naginata. She has like a hole in her chest, so maybe that is one of her murdered friends. And you see, you traitor, that comes into the equation again. There's blood and looks like kanji on the floor. I cannot read this. Anyone who has a keen Japanese eye who can tell some of this kanji here, but I would assume it goes into, once again, the thematics and that theory of maybe she did kill her friends or betray them in some fashion, which is why this dialogue is coming up in the first place. creepily enough, she's gone, and she was laughing. Oh man, I can't wait for this. Ooh, title card.
誰もいないの。足の悪いおばあちゃんまでいないなんて、こんなの絶対誰もいないし、君の
Family, it's gone. People's family, it's gone here. It seems like, yeah, Silent Hill is once again manipulating the town. The bridges are out, and usually for older Silent Hill games, the route of escape, which is roads, highways, etc., those roads are completely destroyed, and this is sort of a similar passing here as we go along.
し、君の悪い解説がうるつき回ってるし。
This has to be Hanako's friends, and maybe they have their own inner demons at play and they're experiencing Silent Hill and all this other stuff. And you see the red rose petals. I believe that's going to have a deeper meaning as we go along. The spider lilies, yeah, I remember them saying something about that, where the spider lilies are going to be symbolic to some fashion. But let's go and see if we can find some of the comments on those lilies from the directors themselves, and I will reiterate that to you guys. Ooh, I see what the people on the subreddit are saying. They say that the spider lily is a symbol of death, loss, and separation, and abandonment as well. Which, if her friends are there, all of this has to be foreboding. You see these like lily petals. All of this is foreboding to what's going to happen with them later on. It's again a symbol of death, meaning I already think they're already past at this point, and we're probably just seeing some projections going on, or they're gonna die later. That could be a thing as well. And it's like, yeah, they're on her back almost. It's like death is chasing her, or it wants to kill her. And here we have some of the Japanese town. These are based on real life locations. There was a couple of screenshots of people comparing them. Obviously, without all the fog and the gray, the gray matter in the background, but they do exist, and it's nice to have some accuracy here. We have our first creature, who is very thick, but jokes aside, it's like it's patchworked together almost. And these sort of bent arms. Let's take a look at the face. The long black hair is definitely part of Japanese folklore. You see it all the time with characters from either The Ring, The Grudge, just this long sort of hair. It's like the eyeballs are also gone as well, and the face is like just sort of serrated, decayed. It's almost like the head was stitched back on. You can see a large laceration of the neck. I would assume potential murder victim, or maybe that's a projection of herself. What do they call this creature? Let's see. They call it the Kashimashi, and this was taken from the direct website. And it has like a knife stuck in one of his hands, almost a little bit doll-like, with the protrusions at the abdomen you see right there. Like, it's almost, I don't know, it's like a ball almost, just walking forward and walking towards you and twisting and turning. It's very surreal in the process. Look at that, that's crazy. Look at the way it moves. Also, it's a giant scar in the middle of his chest, which almost looks like someone removed the organs. That's crazy when you think about it. It can also jump over gates and fences, and we're gonna see a little bit of the combat here. You see Hinako wielding a pipe, classic Silent Hill, but there's also going to be some cosmetic damage over time, it seems. I'm not sure if that's part of the gameplay parameters, where part of her, like, the little sleeve right here, part of her sleeve is like torn, as you see. I'm not sure if the enemy causes that or if that's part of the cutscene. Maybe it's part of the cutscene. I'm not sure. But there is several things going on. She's getting attacked. You can shove them off, which I assume is going to be a quick time event. This is the main point of contention that people are talking about with the pipe swings. When Hinako hits someone, it's almost like a hit stop. I'm kind of 50-50 on this matter, really, because it does look like the melee is a bit slow, but I also tried to argue with people in the Discord that, and I have a horror Discord, so I'm talking to people there. I tried to argue that maybe there is a mixture of lights and heavies. Heavies where you hold down the button and you can do more damage, obviously, and then lights where you smack someone really quickly and you still see some of the hit stop, but it's not tons of massive damage. You're basically just alternating in between. I think that system would be fine for a game of this caliber. I don't think the Silent Hill protagonist should be super overpowered because we've seen that with Homecoming. I like Silent Hill Homecoming, but I think that the main character just slicing bosses into confetti with a knife was absolutely fucking ridiculous. And I always think there needs to be like some sort of every man, every woman clunkiness to the combat. Give me combat where I can definitely fuck up, or I can definitely feel overpowered and outnumbered, but in certain situations I can try to learn and prosper and do things right and dodges and everything like that. I feel like more dynamic engagement with combat is very important with lights and heavies and how they coordinate themselves. I definitely want to get my hands on it, but so far there are things where it's like, oh, that's a little bit too slow, or this might be very interesting, or I just have like a very, very kooky brain with dissecting this. So I don't really have a full problem with everything. I just hope that I am able to disengage the enemies if I'm doing mostly heavy hit stun attacks to them, and I can sort of have a way to defend myself and be offensive at the same time and have it feel like peanut butter and jelly melded into one particular sandwich. Have it feel good, and I will mostly like it. That's another big heavy to the head. Definitely a differing animation from what we saw right there, so maybe my wish will indeed come true. Just a large, heavy attack smashing in the enemy's head. I don't know how I'm gonna deal with this motherfucker. I don't know. I don't know how. Look at how big this thing is. And remember, we saw the ESRB rating for the game. There is no guns, only melee, which is very fascinating to me. Only melee weapons. This thing will do a grapple to you and just slam you on the ground. This is one of the enemies on the website, and they call this one the a bear. I don't think it's a big motherfucker. It looks disgusting. You can see that this looks like a seashell for the nose and just a bunch of flowers. The open mouth, very deformed, like almost an intestine hanging off the side of its face. Like, Jesus Christ, man. The detail to this thing is absolutely fucking crazy. Right here, it looks like a death scene. And one thing I pointed out with this game during our recording session is that this Silent Hill is a lot more gorier than most of them. This might be the goriest one yet, because it's not the first time we've seen death scenes in Silent Hill. I believe Homecoming had them, but this is more gory than Silent Hill 2 Remake, because you're getting straight up stabbed in the face here. Look at that. Oh man, dude, death scenes are back. And then she wakes up from the dream. You can see more of her clothes are like torn as well with the midsection. She's been through hell, dude. Her friends are in prisons, probably in some of the same space, or is Silent Hill fucking with the main protagonist and they might not be there this entire time. We see Maria where it dragged her, no, basically it dragged James to the town, and she was like sort of the vector of, you know, seeing him and the manifestation of James's wife, Mary, and seeing her as this hot new person or whatever. I'm not sure if they're gonna do this with Hanako's friends, but I would assume there's going to be some psychological shenanigans. It's always to be expected with Silent Hill, and this should be no different really in certain aspects. I like that visual, this sort of foggy, desolate place. I was screaming in the reaction. Look at this puzzle, right? You have these still people and they're like scarecrows, and you have to do a puzzle with them standing around, still, lifeless, until they come to life. Look at this shit, dude. It's crazy. I already know one of them, they're gonna come to life as soon as you toy with them. This is just all pure 100% tension because they are an enemy in the game. They call them Japanese. I can't pronounce that. The Akakashi. You know, that wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad. You know what? That was fine right there. But they are an enemy. They look like the schoolgirls. And remember what we said about Silent Hill symbolism here. They look like the deceased schoolgirls, and some of them might be Hanako's friends or whatever, but the legs are like very skinny, like they're standing on sticks, and they have hook hands. You see that, right? I'm not the only one that sees the hook hands and the bound rope to the side of their like forearms and everything, and their arms as well. It looks like they've been pinned down and killed. Oh shit. Coming to life. They're also still in other locations as well. Therefore, the player is going to be 100% on fucking edge during these segments because you're going to be like, are they really alive or not? And the first thing I'm going to do is see if I can hit them as an experiment, and if they spring to life, I'm going to beat the shit out of them. They're also on the ceilings. Oh, here we go. More action. You see them sprinting around. What I found to be cool is that there are some that are steel and some that are mobile. Not all of them are going to be targets. There's also male variants as well. We see the dodge. Oh yeah, let's go. Dodge right there. Dodges are in the game. I don't know if it's stationary or if you dodge, you move, you sway out of the way like Silent Hill 2 Remake, but at least you have some sort of option to defend yourself and not get hit. More of the hit stop. But she did a combo there with the pipe. I also saw one still, the pipe was bent. I'm not sure if that's a sign of weapon degradation or if they're gonna do a thing where the pipe gets bent over time. I'm not sure. How do you guys feel about weapon mechanics of the weapon degrading as you try to hit enemies and then it sort of just gets lost out of your inventory or it does less damage in the process? I'm not a fan of weapon degradation in Silent Hill personally. I hope that's not really a thing, and it's just, hey, it's cosmetic because you beat the shit out of like 5,000 of these enemies already. I hate the dark. More of these shrines, these creepy Japanese like shrines. I see comparisons of people saying it's like Fatal Frame, but hell, I love Fatal Frame. And there is Hinako with the Naginata, and I assume that's going to be one of the more powerful melee weapons in the game. But when she approaches this enemy, you will see the large hole in the enemy's chest, probably signifying that, hey, I've killed this person. I am a murderer. I killed this person for some reason, because there's no reason they would show us this without some sort of symbolism. And she calls out to her, Sakuko, and that probably has to be like someone she knows, her friend, or whatever. That was maybe in the beginning of the trailer, signifying again the obvious has happened. Maybe I stabbed this person to death. See the hole right there? Yeah, and that appears to be made by a bladed object, huh? So it's cool tying that all together. And now the person you know is a boss. Which is fucking crazy. Look at that. You traitor. Again, just homing in the point to make you feel guilty. Silent Hill F comes out September the 25th, 2025. Wow. A Silent Hill game and a Resident Evil game like months apart. What timeline are we living in? Are we back in like 1999 when Silent Hill 1 and fucking Resident Evil 3 released that same year? That is absurd. It's obviously Requiem is coming out 2026, but still they're a few months apart from each other. It's still insane to think about, obviously, man. And I'm going to show you guys one more thing in my breakdown because I think this is very important for people that are ordering the game. Found it. This is what you get with the digital deluxe. There's going to be two versions as usual. There's the base game, that's just the game itself, and that's $70 for US owners. And then there's digital deluxe, which is 80, and you get 48-hour early access. This is something that has been done with Silent Hill 2 remake, but I believe it was like 48 or 72 hours early to play the game early. Once again, it's a practice that I can see some people being like, okay, this is why must you do this to us and make us pay like fucking $80 just to get this 2 days early? But it depends on you really and what you want to do. Personally, to me, I don't think that waiting 2 days is bad personally, but there is nothing in this package that really screams out. You get two outfits that to me look like reskins, but the other one just has like pink bunny ears and that's it. I guess if you're into that, then that's cool, that's fine. And then you get some obvious survival packs. We see this stuff happen before, like in Evil Within, where you get like last chance stuff. You get items that you can have for a chance of survival. They'll give you like a holy water here, a first aid kit. They'll give you trinkets so you can power up your character a little bit, which I assume that's what they're for in this game. And then you get the digital art book and the digital soundtrack for the deluxe edition, and that's about it. I don't know. Am I really such a diehard Silent Hill freak that I'm gonna get this early just to play it early? I don't know. It depends on my mood. It depends on how I feel and what I want to spend at the time. The value of $1 is relative to the observer. And that's for the people that want to be day one on live stream playing this shit. I guess, I don't know. I did get the digital deluxe for Silent Hill 2 remake, so I don't know. It all depends on my mood. But if I want to wait 2 days, I will let you guys know as this game approaches launch, of course. Same for Resident Evil. I'll let you guys know when I pick that up and get that up out of the way. But until then, this is Renegade Operative. I had fun making this. Hopefully, I can make another one in the future. And there's going to be a drop of Resident Evil Requiem news. There's a lot of horror going around, a lot of indie horror, a lot of mainstream horror. We are definitely starting to eat good with this, Chronos, and Resident Evil. And I cannot wait to see what the future holds with a lot of other games in the process. A lot of developers trying their hands to make new IPs. You know, I want to see Outlast come back. I want to see more indie horror. I want to see all of that, and it's been a great time. Go out there, support it, play your favorites, and definitely let me know what you think in the comment section below of Silent Hill F. I'm Renegade Operative. I am signing out. Take care of yourselves, be good people, and I'll see you next time. Later.